Hey everyone, it's BuzzRail96 here. Welcome to another Train Sim World news video. Today Dovetail Games have announced the next piece of content coming to Train Sim World, and that is a route set on the east coast of the United States and the culturally rich city of Boston, Massachusetts. The MBTA Commuter has been revealed. It will be available on October the 29th, 2024 for all platforms at a price of $40 in the United States, €36 and £29.99 in the United Kingdom. So let's get into the details. We'll start with the route first of all. So the MBTA route is 44 miles long from Boston South Station to Worcester, Massachusetts. It has 18 stations, including Lansdowne for Fenway Park, and you can do loco hauled services to Framingham and Worcester. So Train Sim World is back in Boston. This northeast New England city plays host to plenty of commuter and long-distance railroad traffic from two large stations, Boston North and Boston South. This route add-on features services running out of Boston South Station. From here, services head off in a variety of directions, serving wider towns and cities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as well as heading over the border to Providence, Rhode Island, along the iconic Northeast Corridor, which has been covered in a previous released route called the Boston Sprinter in the summer of 2021. Players that own that route will be able to use the route hopping feature to switch between the Boston Sprinter route and the MBTA Commuter at Boston South Station. Framingham Worcester services share this route for a small part of the journey, running alongside I-90 through the cosmopolitan Back Bay area to Back Bay Station before splitting off and heading to the second stop at Lansdowne. It's here where commuter rail baseball fans are likely to head to Fenway Park, the United States' oldest baseball stadium, to see the Red Sox do battle as they have done since 1912. It's then all west to Worcester, saying goodbye to the city centre beyond Boston Landing and heading through a collection of smaller settlements and communities at Natwick, Ashland, Westboro and Grafton. Roughly halfway along is the city of Framingham, where some services terminate before heading back to Boston. For a long time, this settlement was the largest town in the state before becoming a city in 2018. At the western end of the line, the impressive Worcester Union Station greets passengers alighting at the second largest city in Massachusetts. Here, engineers climb out of the cab of their locomotives and head down to the cab car of their train to make the home run back to Boston. A small yard is also included, which stables passenger trains whilst not in use. Let's touch on the rolling stock quickly. The star of the show is a new diesel locomotive. The MBTA HSP 46 is a sleek and modern diesel locomotive which is unique to the MBTA fleet. Having first entered service in 2014, the HSP 46 has been increasingly used on services out of Boston South Station, replacing the older F40PH locomotives. Its large windows and curved nose not only make for a more aerodynamic journey, but is easier for the engineers, with a spacious cab layout that has more in common visually with some of the German locomotives than American ones. This includes an interactive digital display which players could use to interact with the locomotive in terms of getting it ready for service preparation, as well as taking it out of service. Powering the unit is a General Electric GEVO 12 power plant that meets most stringent emissions targets for use in urban environments. As well as a smoother sound when powering up to depart stations, there is also an automatic stop-start feature, which temporarily shuts down the engine after 3 minutes with the throttle in idle and the reverser switch in neutral. The engine restarts when those and several other controls are interacted with. Safety systems ATC and ACSES are both available to use as per other American locomotives built in the game. This time it is not enabled by default, so you can have it off or have it on. All of this is packaged up in a refreshed livery that was voted by the public, still displaying the bright purple colours of its commuter railroad. Audio for the HSP 46 was recorded during a dedicated research trip to Boston. That's a thumbs up, so we're going to get some accurate audio for a change. Let's just hope it's embedded into the locomotive well and isn't badly edited. We'll wait and see, won't we? Players will also be able to take up the familiar helm of the F40PH-3C diesel-electric locomotive, first seen on the Northeast Corridor Boston Sprinter route. These iconic locomotives, seen in other F40PH variants across the United States, still work a large proportion of services out of both North Boston South and Boston North stations in Boston, including the Framingham Worcester line. The cab may feel more familiar to players of other American train sim world routes and locomotives, with ACSES and ATC displays in the top right of the engineer's position, along with throttle, reverser and braking handles set up similar to how they are in older freight or switching locomotives. The F40PH's safety systems have been updated for the MBTA Commuter. There will also be two different styles of coaches, which will feature in the consists of trains heading along the Framingham Worcester line. BTC and CTC bi-level cars are new to the route, representing stock seen across many of the MBTA Commuter rail lines. Though visually they may be similar to those seen on the recently released San Bernardino line, unlike those, they have the cab car available to operate to facilitate return journeys from Worcester or Framingham back to Boston. Like the HSP46, these cab cars also have a interactive digital driver's display, and passenger areas will also have operable door controls for use in Train Sim World's conductor mode, which, yes, it has been included in this route. I couldn't really give a toss about it, but for those that are interested in the conductor mode, you will be able to play the role of an MBTA conductor, checking passenger tickets, clearing the aisles of baggage, and operating door controls to ensure passengers alight and board safely. Also included, stock-wise, is the BTC and CTC level coaches and cab cars, previously seen in the Northeast Corridor Boston Sprinter. They will also have conductor mode functionality in the MBTA Commuter route and have had their safety systems updated to match those found in the HSP46 and bi-level cab car. A selection of services will contain mixed sets of single and bi-level coaches, with the majority of trains formed of uniformed sets. As far as the timetable goes, actually, we'll touch on that very quickly, and I do mean very quickly because there isn't really a lot about it, which is a bit concerning. So like the previously released Boston Sprinter route, MBTA Commuter is set in 2019, so that content from both route add-ons can interact with one another. Local hauled services will face out of Boston towards Worcester, with the cab cars leading the way for the return journey back to Boston. And that's pretty much it. There's no details of is there going to be an accurate timetable from 2019? Are we going to have one just made up on the fly? How many services have we got? Are we going to have stock from like Amtrak being laid onto this route, to set the rail scene, if you like, at Boston South? It doesn't say anything of that at all. So that is concerning. Either the timetable isn't finished, it isn't accurate, or it's broken. So I'm a bit worried by that they have hardly touched on the timetable or any service layers for that matter at all. So that is a big concern. They do state there are 5 scenarios that you can do in the MBTA Commuter, which is quite cool, and there will also be collectibles to hunt down, such as, the usual route maps, warning signs and posters, along with something baseball-themed to find. Mastery challenges are also included with this route, so, you have to perform certain tasks, like completing certain scenarios or travelling a certain number of miles in the specific locomotive. Tier 1 unlocks new decals for you to use in the livery designer, and Tier 2 unlocks some scenery tiles. For the MBTA Commuter, the scenery tile will place a static, non-operable red line train to represent the T trains that also form part of Boston's real-world mass transit network. And there we are. That pretty much concludes this video. If you'd enjoyed it, then feel free to hit the thumbs up button below. And if you are watching for the first time, then I'd really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.